I'm sure there's a lot of people in Waverly, McEwen, anybody that had any water damage or flooding, all their insurance is probably saying you're not covered.
It's a problem we keep hearing from so many in Humphreys County, confusion over whether or not they're eligible for flood insurance. The answer for such a long time was, it depends, at least until this week. Call for Action problem solver Caresse Jackman has more on a potential solution for some of these flooding victims.
That's right, Marius. Many people in Humphreys County feel like they are in limbo because they either didn't have flood insurance or they didn't qualify for a national flood insurance program. And that's because the county didn't opt into it. But now things finally look like they're taking a turn for the better. With water rising every second, Samuel DEAVERS, his fiance, and 2 little boys didn't know if they'd make it out of their Humphreys County home alive.
We decided that it'd probably be best to go up into our loft, and then I would sit down at the stairs with a flashlight waiting for rescue to come.
When the waters receded, figuring out how he'd pay for the floors, appliances, and his entire home became his next obstacle.
I called my insurance company and filed a claim for a flood, and they told me that I was not covered under a flood and that they would not send anybody out and pretty much not waste their time.
It still affects me.
It's really starting to sink in, I'm sure.
It's starting to seep in, yeah.
Here it still has standing water in it.
Over in Waverly, Johnny Little battles the same stress, cleaning up without the protection of flood insurance.
They came down, they were very polite. They walked through the house, they took pictures, stayed here for about an hour. And all they said is, we'll do what we can. You don't have flood insurance.
It went every room.
Prior to the flood, both men were told they don't need flood insurance because they don't live in a floodplain. News 4 contacted both Little and DEAVERS insurance companies. State Farm told us they can't discuss Mr. Little's situation for privacy reasons, but that they're looking into his claim. While Farm Bureau, DEAVERS insurance company, says generally speaking, property insurance contracts don't cover floods. They went on to say they typically refer customers to the National Flood Insurance Program offered by the federal government. But there's another hurdle. We contacted FEMA to ask about the program and found out the cities of Waverly and McEwen are part of the flood insurance program, but Humphreys County as a whole was not. DEAVERS says his home sits just a quarter of a mile outside of the McEwen city limits, meaning he wouldn't benefit from the national program. Why did the county opt out?
They didn't opt out, they just never opted in.
Do you feel that not opting in back in 2010 was a mistake that the county made?
Yes, I do. As a matter of fact, we've had, I believe, 6 nationally declared disasters since 2010. None of those included an individual assistance piece, so individuals weren't qualified for FEMA relief. Now, it would have made a difference in terms of availability of subsidized flood insurance, and for that reason, I think it would have been a good idea.
They've now reconsidered, recently voting to participate in the program, which could mean more help for the most recent flood victims.
FEMA offers a retroactive activation back 6 months, so damages incurred by this flood on August the 21st will be covered.
And while this will help these victims, advocates say a bigger solution is needed.
I think you're seeing as a growing trend across the country, a number of states that are identifying this as a common problem and are really putting forth mandates to develop comprehensive statewide flood plans to hopefully begin to get ahead of this problem before it begins getting worse.
Little and DEAVERS hopes that's the case, not just for them, but for anyone facing the ripple effects of Mother Nature's fury.
I know there's a stipulation. If a plane falls on your house, we'll cover that. If a locomotive runs through your house, we'll cover that. But when it comes to little things like flood, I mean, that happens to all kinds of people.
Yeah, we did let Little and DEAVERS know about the recent vote by the county in hopes that they could all qualify for federal assistance now. Marius.
So, Caresse, I got to ask, did that county executive ever say why the county didn't want the flood insurance program to begin with?
Well, Marius, we did ask him that, and he said he cannot speak for everyone that was on the commission, but he did say that concerns boil down to pretty much 2 things. Concerns about government oversight, and if the program would even provide any sort of help for individuals. Now, seeing that it truly does help, plus listening to the cries of the people, well, that's something that's truly made a difference in their vote in favor of the federal program this time around, Marius.
A little too late. Caresse, thank you so much.